All right, everyone, welcome back into another props video. Can we touch on the top prop bets in the NBA today? It's a 3-game slate. Let's go in and get into it. So looking at right now, guys, we got some games here that, I don't know, to me, they're not the most appealing. Like Cleveland and Orlando, those two teams have been kind of bores throughout the season. That being said, we did see a lot of players like Jalen Suggs get more minutes than they did throughout the regular season. And I do think that that's going to be something we continue to see. Really, we saw the minutes just get tightened up for the Orlando Magic. And to me, that's going to be highly encouraging. Like Wagner got up to 37 minutes in that last game, and the game wasn't really even close. And I do think that that's going to be something that we can rely on to continue to happen. And so that does get me excited about betting on Orlando. I feel like all the prop bets for them are all a little bit too low than they should be, just in regards to how many minutes we can kind of project them to get. Now, I do think it's worth calling out that Wendell Carter was somewhat banged up in that game. And obviously going against Cleveland, that is a big thing where they run out two bigs. And so that is a little bit of a concern. I was a little bit surprised to see Mo Wagner not get that much run because he's someone that's kind of just a natural replacement there. We did see Jonathan Isaac, however, get more run. And Jonathan Isaac is a point per minute type producer. And so if we see him get heavy minutes again, it's going to be tough not to like him, especially like if we get a fantasy score prop bet for him, because it's going to be undervalued because he is someone that point per minute wise for fantasy score is someone that can produce. But looking at the prop bets that we are getting on the board on paper for the Orlando Magic, not going to be as appealing as I would like. We are seeing like Cole Anthony under steals is one that's popping up. He did not play that many minutes in the last game, so that does somewhat make sense. Jalen Suggs to get over 1.5 turnovers. Yes, if he's going to be playing more minutes, that would be a good prop bet, especially against Cleveland, but he only had one last game, so I'm a little bit on the fence about that one. But looking at it right now, guys, like Jonathan Isaac is one that I would want to run for the over, just because, again, if he does get those minutes, 28 minutes, we can see based off of the average minutes here, he should be able to crush that over. But that, I want to make that clear, that is what you are betting on, is him to get those 28 minutes. If he doesn't, then if he gets closer to his average of 15 to 20 minutes, yes, that means that bet's going to be much more difficult to hit. So that one is definitely up in the air. Okay, it's hard to hit. And if you guys are betting on something like DraftKings, you know, another sports bet that isn't PrizePicks or Underdog, and you can get it at 6.5, I would be much more comfortable betting that, even though it's going to be like minus 150, so the payout's not going to be as good. I do see an edge there, though, still. Jalen Suggs as well. This is one where on the sports books, I think I would be fine betting the over. Again, if he's going to be getting those heavy minutes, 34 to, you know, just over 30 minutes, like that is huge for someone like Jalen Suggs. And so we can see, again, if he does get those minutes, he should be able to get that over. And so at 3.5, like, to me, those rebounds are something that I'd want to bet the over on. Again, that's probably going to be a better bet on one of the sports books because, well, with PrizePicks and Underdog, we want to be chasing good EV bets. I don't feel the need to go with Banchero for over points, rebounds, and assists, but he's going to get probably around 40 minutes. So if you wanted to go in on that, you could. Wagner, you know, I do like the over here as well for over points and assists. Just their Magic, and I guess this would be the better bet here, is the just over points. The Magic's props, and I saw this in game one, they're all a little bit lower because of their season average of minutes. They should all be getting heavier minutes. And like Wagner's projected to get 37. So like that to me is highly appealing. And so I really don't mind the idea of running out some sort of Magic game stack where you're just betting a lot of their overs, betting on their minutes being there. We jump on into Cleveland now. And with Cleveland, we did see them be kind of, I don't want to say tight with their minutes because that's not the right word, but we saw them have their normal minutes. But we also saw a lot of their production be spread out like it has been throughout the season. And the bigs really did have a good game. Mobley and also Jared Allen, mostly because, well, the Magic weren't really running out any bigs. I mean, Banchero's kind of a big, but you guys get what I mean. And so if Wendell Carter's going to be banged up again, where they're going to be running Jonathan Isaac out, like that is somewhat huge to me. And so to me, I want to be seeing if we're getting any good prop bets for Evan Mobley and Jared Allen in terms of rebounds. So like Mobley for over 9.5 rebounds, again, not the best PrizePicks or Underdog bet, but a good sportsbook bet, I would think, on paper. One, because his minutes are going to be up. His minutes and Jared Allen's minutes had been at times limited thus far this season. If the game's close, they're going to get around 36 minutes. So to me, that's kind of huge. I like that there for Mobley. Then we take a peek at Jared Allen. You know, I don't know if we need to exactly go in on 11 rebounds. I think if we're betting on him, we'd probably just do PRA because he is someone that can, you know, affect the game in multiple ways. That'd probably be the route I would want to go, is points, rebounds, and assists. But we can see that's about a 50-50%. Now with Cleveland, we are getting a couple of good EV bets as well. You know, more PrizePicks and Underdog bets here. We can see really, I guess it's more or less just Max Strus for over rebounds and assists at 7.5. And we can see last game he did get a lot of rebounds, 9 in that game, and then 1 assist. On the season, he does average closer to four assists and 5 rebounds, so still does seem to be a little bit too low. And he is someone that we did see get 33 minutes in that game, which is a little bit more than his season average. You know, it's tough to say that for sure because Cleveland's been so banged up throughout the season where we didn't really see this lineup too much, this healthy starting lineup. So that is noteworthy. And guys, that does bring up a slight point that I want to call out as well. I did see a lot of strange advice on Twitter, basically throughout the playoffs, saying, oh, so-and-so went and hit this line that I'm telling you guys to bet every single matchup thus far this season. And I'm like, oh my gosh, do not, like, that should not be the sole reason to place a bet. That is terrible analysis because it doesn't take into account trades, injuries, rotations. Like, rotations are tighter. Obviously, in the playoffs, it gets refed a little bit differently and stuff. Like, oh, that was just so mind-numbing. So be careful of that. It is noteworthy, don't get me wrong, but like that should never be the sole reason you are making a bet. Just like the last 5 average should never be a sole reason why you're making a bet. So I did want to point that out. But with that, let's go ahead and jump on into the next game now. And so looking at this next game, I do want to call it that Paul Reed could potentially get a little bit more run against New York. There's some rumors going around that could happen. And if that does occur, I do see that somewhat limiting the amount of minutes that someone like Tobias Harris could get, where we couldn't project him to get like 36 plus minutes. It'd be just more 33 is like the highest we could get there on him. So that is something that's situational that I don't think we'll be able to predict. But Batum is going to get his 20 or so minutes that he has been getting. That is just going to occur. I was surprised to see the amount of hype that he was getting in that Miami game. I'm like, 20 points is obviously a lot, and him shooting that basketball that well is obviously a lot, but he's been a solid kind of decent minute getter for them this whole season. And I don't know why people were that hyped for him. It was a little bit strange to me. But looking at the Philly props that we were getting, I have a tough time with them. Like, I do like Maxey for over 2.5 threes. That's probably my favorite one there. Tobias Harris for over points. Again, this is very much dependent on how many minutes he's going to get. And to me, I just feel like this 35 is more up in the air. And so I don't know if we need to go in on that too much. That's a little bit of a concern to me. From there, like Kyle Lowry for over points and assists. Now, he is someone that I think we're going to see get more minutes than he got throughout the season. And if that occurs where he gets 30 plus minutes in this game, like that is huge. And so that is something where I don't mind betting him to get his over points and assists at 10.5. Like that would just simply be too low. And really that's going to be one of my favorite bets on paper today. Because to me, we're just betting on the minutes. Now, yes, that kind of goes hand in hand. If he's not shooting the basketball well and maybe having a few turnovers, he's not going to be able to get that over. But to me, that's a pretty good line that we are getting for Kyle Lowry today. Again, got 38 minutes in the last game. To me, that's very appealing. I thought he looked sharp. So that's one that I like. And then I will go with Maxey for over his 2.5 threes made. Watching that game, it certainly seemed like Maxey was the better player compared to Jalen Brunson, which I know it wasn't the case thus far this season, but Kendrick Perkins was certainly making the case that Jalen Brunson was some sort of elite top 5 player in the league. As a Bucks fan, I took offense to that as an FY. That's why I'm bringing that up. But Maxey, I do like for over 2.5 threes. Now, the Knicks are a good defense, but this is a good EV bet that we are getting. I think that this is one that does give us an edge. More times than not, I do see him being able to get this over. And then from there, if you were looking to use one of the stars for prize picks, you could do Embiid for over turnovers. But that's the thing. We are seeing a lot of decent bets here in general for the Sixers. I don't mind that. If I were looking at like Tobias Harris, I would want to do over rebounds. That one does seem to be a decent edge. But again, I'm a little bit concerned about the minutes, so I don't want to bet on Tobias Harris at all. With that, let's jump into the Knicks. And with the Knicks, the one thing I want to point out is the lack of minutes for OG. I thought that was a little bit surprising. He had been someone that throughout the season that was, when he was healthy, was kind of consistently getting 35 plus minutes in that game. So that was a little bit of a shock to me. They kind of just went with Josh Hart for heavy minutes. Like, I mean, we've seen that a bunch. That's not really a surprise. But to me, we saw a little bit more Bogdanovich than I would have thought. 25 minutes in that game. And we'll see if that was just like a game 1 type of thing, if that's going to occur in game 2. And so that to me kind of makes me not want to be on OG, or if we're getting any Bogdanovich props, I don't want to be on that as well. That to me is a little bit shocking. We did see Mitchell Robinson get 30 plus minutes in that game, which does make sense with Isaiah Hartenstein going up against Joel Embiid. He didn't look that good. And so, again, I do think that was just more of a game 1 type thing. But let's say Paul Reed gets more run as well. Then, well, they're probably going to need to run out both Mitchell Robinson and Hartenstein out a little bit more. And so that's where they both could be a decent play on paper today. But I do think Mitchell Robinson, you'll see here, we are getting his over points and rebounds. To me, that makes sense. If we're betting on him to, let's not say get 30 minutes, I think that's a little bit too high. But if we can bank on him getting let's say 22, 23 minutes, to me, that's kind of huge. And if he does get that, I do see him getting over this points and rebounds prop right now. I don't want to just say, though, oh, because he played good in game one, that he's going to get this over. That's terrible analysis, okay? But we are betting on the minutes there. And like we can see, this is a clear outlier, him getting 30-plus minutes. Could that be a matchup-based thing? Yes. Do I want to see it again to like give you guys that for sure? Yes, but that's the playoffs. Like, we're not going to know that stuff. Dante DiVincenzo for over 2.5 assists does seem too low. We can say it has a 53% chance to hit. Now, he is someone that on the season does average 2.7. I don't know if we exactly need to go in on that, but I do think it's worth calling out that DiVincenzo only played 24 minutes in that game, and that wasn't really his fault. That was more Miles McBride just having a really good second half of that game, and you're just not going to sit a guy that's shooting the basketball that well and playing that well. And so because of that, Dante DiVincenzo ended up sitting. Now, do we expect Miles McBride to have that type of game again? Not really, no. And so I do think betting on DiVincenzo to get closer to his normal minutes does make sense. And if he does get, 8 more minutes like he would have, it's not hard to imagine him getting another assist. But obviously, that's a close one. It's a 53% chance to hit. Then these other ones are only okay. Like, again, I don't want to bet on Bogdanovich simply because I'm not exactly sure what his minutes are going to be. But I will say, like, these two right here do correlate pretty well. So OG and Bogdanovich, betting the over for Bogdanovich, over 3-pointers made makes sense. And then betting the under for OG, under points and assists does make sense as well. If you're looking for a star bet, you could do Jalen Brunson for over 2.5 3-pointers made. So with that, let's go ahead and get into the last game of the slate. Personally, a game that I just really, I don't want to say I struggle with it, but at the same time, to me, it's difficult. I don't know. This is just, it's a fun game to watch. It's more a game that I want to watch rather than break down, to be honest with you guys. Now, Denver has certainly had the Lakers number, but Anthony Davis and LeBron are both going to play heavy minutes. We know that 40-plus minutes for both of them, assuming that they stay on the court. That's more of a Anthony Davis take, but they're going to be playing heavy minutes. And with that, I think we want to begin to their props the most, Anthony Davis and LeBron. But with that, they're going to be priced probably correctly. I don't mind the over PRA for Anthony Davis. The under is being favorited there. But if he's going to be playing those heavy minutes, I do like that. But that kind of feels like we're forcing it. And same thing with LeBron, like over PRA. Those two bets would feel like we're forcing it, really regardless of PrizePicks or Underdog or any sportsbook. To me, that would just be making bets to make a bet. And same thing with Austin Reeves. Even though it's a good EV bet, and I will be betting this right now, this will get bumped to 14, and it still will be a decent bet there. At 13.5, this is a bet that you kind of have to make right now. I just don't exactly love it. Now, if Reeves is going to be playing 37-plus minutes, you do imagine him maybe making one more bucket. Didn't exactly play that well. Still was able to get 13 points in that game. So him getting to 15 points does not seem out of the norm. That doesn't seem too crazy. With that, let's jump into Denver as well. Like I said, I don't feel like we're getting massive edges for these teams. These props all seem to be correct. I do think we might get some good fantasy score prop bets throughout the day as it pops up. Yesterday ended up being a pretty good day. I think it was like 4 for 5 for the top 5 it ended up hitting. So hopefully we can get that again today. But with that, guys, let's go ahead and get into a bet of the day today. But I do want to start with showing you guys the slip optimizer as well. So this is what the slip optimizer is currently telling us to do. We have some MLB prop bets that's telling us to go with. Let's see though, based off of a pick 6, what type of bets. So De La Cruz for under his fantasy score. Then we have some shots on goal props for hockey. Those are favored as pushes. I'm still working on this as an FY. I don't want those being filtered in there these two. I don't want those being filtered in there because they're fine. They're going to be pushes. That's what the percent is telling us there. I just don't want those included. But then we have Reeves for over 13.5 points, and then we have Mitchell Robinson for over his points, rebounds, as well as good prop bets that we can use. So I wanted to call that out. And I do just real quickly want to pull up MLB to see if we're getting any good pitching fantasy score prop bets as well. And we're getting a couple of decent ones, but I don't feel the need to go in on either of these two. Like decent, but nothing too crazy. Like this would be the only one that I'd want to go with. So with that, let's go ahead and get into the bet of the day today. Mostly just for NBA. All right, so here's the bet of the day today. Again, this Kyle Lowry prop is going to be more betting on the minutes to be there for him. A veteran like him just getting more run during the playoffs does make sense. We saw that in game 1. I do expect that to occur again in game 2. Maxey as well, 2.5 3-pointers made time and time again. He's going to be able to get this over. He's going to get the attempts up. He just needs to make them. Got 3 last game. Kind of expect him to get 3 again today. That's just a good EV bet, as well as Max Strus for over rebounds and assists. He is someone that's going to get 30 plus minutes in this game. This is a kind of grinded out type game going against the Magic. Again, it's going to be a good EV bet for us. Mitchell Robinson, this is very much risk reward. He did get a lot of minutes in the last game. Tough to say for sure whether or not he's going to get those same minutes in this game. I'm more betting on him to not get those minutes, but I am still betting on him to get 20 plus 23 or so minutes in this game. Thus, him getting over 12.5 points and rebounds should be plausible. If he gets more minutes than that, then yeah, it's going to be sitting great. If he gets less minutes than that, a little bit risky. So that's the risk reward there. And then just going with the top 2 MLB props that we currently have, we got Xander Bogaerts for over his hitting fantasy score of 8.5 as one of the best ones. And then we also have De La Cruz for under his fantasy score for MLB. I include those because I want to make it a flex slip, and so I went with the 6 slip flex slip bet here for you guys. But that's gonna be all for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck today. If you guys want access to any of the tools that you saw available in this video, head on over to 95sports.com. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the great coverage. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck today, and as always, let's keep cashing.